The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcia Diamond, and I am New Business Development with Alluserv, and I wanted to welcome you to our Alluserv September webinar, actually almost October, Power Retailing. We're glad you were able to join us this afternoon and spend some time to learn more about Power Retailing. We're going to give a few more minutes for people to come on. We see a bunch of people coming on, so we're going to give a few more minutes and we'll get started like 3:03. We appreciate you being on, and we just want to make sure we let everyone, it was a big turnout who registered for this, so we want to make sure everyone gets on. In addition, some housekeeping tips. The PowerPoint will be available by Monday on the Alluserv website, and the video of this recording will be available on the Alluserv website as well as on YouTube. The certificate of participation will be available on the Alluserv website. And there is a short survey at the end, and we'd appreciate if you can take it because it helps us make the Alluserv webinars better. And also, it's about some information that Helene will be talking about today, and I think it will be valuable for you. So please take that survey at the end of the Power Retailing webinar. Again, we'll get started in about 2 minutes, so hang in there with us, and I will then start this webinar. Again, welcome. Also, some other housekeeping tips. If you have any questions, type it in, and we will get to as many questions as we can. Otherwise, Helene will answer them and email you responses. Okay. All right. It's 3:03. We're going to get started. Welcome again. Thank you for spending the afternoon with us and giving an hour of your time. My name is Marcia Diamond. I'm a New Business Development with Alluserv, and welcome to today's webinar called Power Retailing. We want to thank Alluserv for sponsoring this. Alluserv is about meal delivery systems and equipment, elevating the experience, meal service experiences. Together we can do it. So if you want more information on Alluserv, please go to their website, alluserv.com. And without further ado, I'm going to give over this to Helene, who's going to tell you a little bit about herself. You know, you read about her bio, and then talk about the power retailing of today.
Okay. Can you hear me, Marcia? Can everybody hear me?
Sound great.
Okay.
Everyone should be on the telephone mode, which would make it easier.
Okay. So, okay. And you're going to turn over to me right now, then, Marcia, so I can click through the PowerPoint.
I am going to do that right now.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you, Marcia, for that wonderful introduction. My name is Helene Virgona, and I am the owner of Virgona Creative Solutions. Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you today. I was excited about this opportunity. You've seen my bio. I've been in the business since, a long time, and I can remember 25-cent cups of coffee on an honor system back when it was the cafeterias in the basement of many businesses. And we have come so far from when I first started out in the business back in a long time ago, in the 70s actually, and consumers have also evolved a great deal. And I find it very exciting what's going on in the world of food today. We happen to be in a great business. Healthcare, wellness, food, it's all tying together. And consumers are looking to you to be the leaders in helping them to be empowered and to be educated. And in order to give them the right things, we need to make sure that we are understanding them. So I'm going to go over understanding the consumer a little bit. Then we'll talk about some of the trends that are still out there and they're still strong, and then some new trends. So let's see. Marcia, I'm hitting enter, and I'm hitting Nothing's happening here.
Try it again.
Okay, hang on a second. Okay. Uh-oh, I just lost my presentation here. Okay. Nope, nothing. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to try it for you, and let's see. Let's do this again, Helene. And I'm going to, okay. Should work now. Let's try it.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. No, I do not want to leave the webinar, but nope. Okay, there we go. Terrific. So we're going to go back just one. Okay, so understanding the consumer, I did just speak about that for a moment. I don't think it's any secret to anybody on the call. Your consumers have higher expectations than ever before. And power retailing is really about getting into the head of the consumer. The past several years have really given way to new consumers. And we have taught them, the retail industry have taught them how to be power consumers and have higher expectations. The bottom line is that if they're going to spend their hard-earned dollars with you, it better count. And they've developed attitudes. Attitudes are bigger than ever, and it's okay to have an attitude because I have a sense of entitlement as a consumer. Consumers are well-versed in consumerism. Every company out there over the last few years, as the economy was going down, were vying for the stomach share or the position in the marketplace. And they actually taught their customers how to be better customers. Pick up any newspaper, go to any news channel, any webinar that you get on now, people are still talking about value and how to create value. And one of the biggest trends is how to save money on lunch and how to save money on cooking and food. So consumers are well-versed in being consumers. And then last but not least, competition definitely creates more competition. And we've always heard that it was good, but today competition is fierce. And consumers get messages and deals sent to their phones. I'm sure some of you on the phone, the iPhone, the Samsung, all of the different things that are going on right now in the world leads to consumers being better consumers at a much higher level, and the competition is fierce. How about food trucks showing up on the corner in certain cities, and they text all of their customers to come out because he is the deal today. Crowdsourcing, Twitter, texting, Pinterest, you name it. Consumers are out there doing it every minute of the day. So the other thing that we have to remember is that even though the folks in your building, whether they are the staff that work in your building or they're customers that are coming in from the local community, into your healthcare facility, the hospital, the cafeteria, the catering, whatever it may be, although they may all look alike and they may all work in the same department in the same building, consumers each consider themselves to be very unique. They do things differently. They're not like others. Please take the time to understand those consumers, and they will be loyal to you because they'll feel affection towards your brand. The me economy. I started talking about the me economy probably 5 years ago. Thought it was going to be a little bit of a fad, but it's almost an iconic or an iconoculture type of thing that's happening. It's all about me. We've heard that phrase. You just go ahead and deal with it because I don't care. It's about me. Consumers are ego-driven and self-absorbed. They're demanding, they're fickle, and yes, they are trend-driven. And that's where it gets hard for us as operators because one day it's in and the next day it's out. But the bottom line is that if you're not on top of what's happening in the mind of the consumer in your business, they'll go somewhere else because they know they can go to another retailer. Next, trends that are still going strong, obviously, branding and imaging. Branding and imaging have never been more of a moneymaker in the history of brands. We all know Coca-Cola, we all know the Quakers and the General Mills, but there are iconic brands that are out there right now that don't even need a name, and I'm going to show you a few in a minute, but branding and image are everything. Think about football, folks, and the NFL and all of the paraphernalia and the things that they sell just through branding. It's amazing right now. Wellness is still strong, as we know. Our whole culture is really talking about wellness on a daily basis. It's not a thing, though. There's no definitive definition. The person who figures out what wellness really is and puts a definition to it is going to be the winner in the game of wellness. Wellness is a wide open topic. There's no solution, but there are thousands of combinations. But it is an expectation that food service, restaurants, grocery stores, I call grocerants, which is like a Wegmans where there's a food bar inside of a grocery store. So a grocerant is also a very popular thing right now. And even when you go into those places, they offer wellness options. So it's not a good thing that you do, it's an expectation. Farmers markets have been popular for many years. Again, when we started looking at a trend-based a few years ago, thinking, oh, you know, it's nice, this is fun, we've been through the farmers markets fad before. But then it gravitated into origins of food. Where's it coming from? How's it grown? What are you doing? How are you treating? You know, what kind of treatment do you have of your animals or your workers? There's so many things that go into farmers markets now. It's become part of its own culture, and it's not going away. And then glocal. Glocal is a word that really combines local and global together, and that's, again, where it gets crazy, trying to give your consumers what they want. When they want something locally, they want to know that tomatoes came from the farmer down the road, but they also want you to bring in, you know, exotic chocolates or coffees or ingredients from around the world. And they also want to make sure you're purchasing products that are helping the workers who are producing those products, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So again, branding. We talked about branding a moment ago. I know every one of you that's looking at these brands, you know them, you see them, they're iconic, they're not going anywhere, and they don't even need a tagline. You know exactly what it is. You know where to go and get it. You can even envision what the product looks like in your mind. You need to think about your business in your location in whatever city you're in right now. And one of the things I would say to you is that it's not okay to just be the cafeteria inside of the hospital or the healthcare business or whatever business you're in. You need to start to have an identity and pull a little bit away from that so that you become somebody that has a brand identity. Bottom line is you need to get an identity. There's too much competition out there right now, even small businesses that understand that they can create their brand by having great visuals and having that identity. The next one we'll talk about, as I said to you, which is still going strong, is wellness. I don't even think that really you can go anywhere or do anything today that it's not about wellness. And, you know, whatever the government is doing, you know, Obamacare, healthcare, whatever's happening in, you know, in the healthcare facilities, all that aside, the consumers have started to click into the fact that they want to understand wellness and that they expect it in their lives. So it is an expectation. It's not something that you do that's nice for your consumers. It's not a task. It's a way of running your business. It's training your employees to be able to answer questions about ingredients. Again, remember I said origin of foods are important, but ingredients, and what are those ingredients? People are so concerned about their health right now with chemicals and all of the news that's coming out about additives and chemicals. It's important that you be able to answer those questions and that the folks on your front lines are able to answer those questions as well. You have to have 100% transparency in all of your labeling. If you have a to-go program and you are labeling food, it is critical nowadays that you absolutely label it with all of the ingredients and make sure that they are properly spelled and that you can tell people what's in that salad or that sandwich that you've made. Simple things like, is it fat-free yogurt or is it low-fat yogurt? It's important to someone if their wellness plan calls for them to have fat-free and you're offering low-fat, and then maybe even not telling them which kind of yogurt it is. And there is a difference. But then truthfulness in menus, recipes, and ingredients. It's important also as you're putting out menus. People have become educated. There are so many apps out there right now where people can go into a store. I'm sure you've heard of Fooducate. You go in, you scan the QSR or the UPC code on an item, and it actually grades that product that you're looking at on the shelf by certain criteria for healthy products. People want to know what's in the food, and make sure you're following the recipe. Don't try to substitute without changing your menus or changing the ingredient listing in front of them. Some things that are still hot and happening are no Fridays. meaning that there's a day when you turn off the fryers and we eat grilled or braised or oven roasted, or we eat raw, or we eat fresh, or we don't use fried food. So it's no Fridays, F-R-Y-D-A-Y-S. Meatless Mondays are still a big thing. I'm sure you guys have tried that. Vegetarian and vegan, more important now than ever. A lot of people are going to plant-based diets, and also the Paleolithic, paleo diet. People are going back to the caveman diet, more natural, clean food. Empowerment-driven, and I say empowerment as opposed to education. Consumers are tired of being educated by their bosses or in the place where they work. But if you just put a spin on it and say, I'm empowering you to understand this or that about ingredients or food, they love it. The last thing I would say is consider stealth health. A lot of brands that are emerging now in QSR are starting to really put healthy items first and foremost, and saying that we will not do certain things, we will not use certain products, and their consumers grow loyal to them because they know they can trust them. So considering stealth health might be something that you'd want to do. Old McDonald is what I call it. It's the farmer's market and produce has become more mainstream than ever before. A few years ago, we talked about, beef, and, it was fish, and it was salmon, and it was all about, chicken, and now we're talking about vegetables, and we're talking about them in a very different way than we did over the last few years. A lot of folks are clicking into plant-based diets now, because of wellness, because of health issues, and gluten-free. People want just fresh, clean food. Clean eating is another whole trend that's out there. So the farmers markets and the variety in the local stores even have gotten bigger and better, and they continue to expand even into the more exotic fruits and vegetables. So I'm sure a lot of you have tried this, but bringing the concept into your cafe, even on a monthly basis, doing a local farmers market, even if you highlight just one item off of the list of items that are being sold, people love that, because now you can empower them and then empower them about the wellness attributes of why they should eat more of these fruits and vegetables. Dr. Wheel does a great job. He'll send out emails on a regular basis and say, why should you eat cauliflower? And he has a whole article that's written about it. Folks love that kind of stuff. Displaying signs with the name and or adding the name of the farmer or the product to your menus also gives it a more a better spin on just fruits and vegetables. The last thing I would say is, under this category, is consider changing your salad bar to seasonal salad bars. Do a fall salad bar. Do a winter salad bar. Then emerging spring salad bar, and then summer salad bar. You can also add a plug-and-play option to your salad bar now, which is some of the exotic grains or the higher protein grains. Quinoa, amaranth, farro, making risotto with farro instead of risotto. There's so many things that you can do on a grain bar now, and folks are starting to lay in quinoa instead of lettuce into their salad bowls. So you might want to consider that. Glocal. This is a concept about creating communities, and it's about caring and sharing. And we've all heard of things like using fair trade, bird-friendly, advertising a story. Where did the tea come from, and on what town was it being produced, and how did it help the people who were growing and packaging the product? Where does the chocolate come from, and is there a story about that town and how your purchase can help someone far away from you, even though you're buying it locally? That's about empowerment. So buying products like that does make a difference, and it makes consumers feel like they are making a difference as well in the world. Indulgence. We all like to indulge in certain things. We have our likes and dislikes, but indulgence, it's a sense of entitlement, and consumers have definitely developed a keen sense of entitlement over the last few years. Again, what I said in the beginning is, if I'm going to spend my hard-earned dollars at your establishment, it really had better count. So they also, not only do they want clean eating or, green eating or healthy eating, they do want that little indulgence too, make no mistake about it. They want to treat themselves. After a long morning of work or meetings or a week of travel and they're in your dining facility, they want to treat themselves. Mini is still selling. It blows my mind sometimes, but anything smaller, people buy it up. They think it's cute, it's just a little, it's my wellness plan, it's a mini dessert or a mini burger or whatever it might be. The good news is that mini should never have a mini price, so you get to benefit as an operator by giving consumers what they want in this indulgence, but also charging a premium for it. And it's funny because this, in the mini category, is where people will pay a premium price for it because it's just something they want to treat themselves to. This is an opportunity for you to offer exotic ingredients or expensive ingredients because it's only done in a small snippet. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money on it. So think about tastings and tapas and bite sizes. Let people make their own entree up by bite sizes. So that's indulgence. Some of the new trends that I've been working with and that I'm really excited about right now, newism. The bottom line is new's never been hotter, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. And then E4, it's just something that I've put together over the last few years, which is entertainment, experience, experimental, and excitement. And folks just want to have fun. So show me something new. Let me try something new. Teach me something amazing about ingredients or cooking, and I will be a happy customer. Rewinding, it's really about what's old is new. It's while consumers want new, they also lust after things from the past. And as your demographics are aging and our population has more boomers, they're looking toward vintage and nostalgic and retro, the good times, food that they remembered, feel-good times. Think about the products that have been new or improved, and we'll talk about new and improved in a minute, or relaunched. I was even in the mall today at Sur La Table, which is a gourmet store, and they're selling Christmas ornaments, and Twinkies is one of the ones that's front and center. So think about what happened with Twinkies this year. The next one is remarkability, and remarkability equals success, which then equals profits. Wowing the consumer. We've heard this for years, but now we need to make them feel special about coming to your location. And really, again, what I said in the beginning is consumers are much more savvy than they've ever been before, and they have bigger attitudes than they've ever had before. Their expectations are higher. So sparkling clean cafes and uniforms, well-trained employees who create an experience for them by saying, hi, how are you, and smiling and really being helpful and empowering them. That's what's going to give remarkable service. And companies who perform remarkably will gain the loyalty of their consumers and increase their sales. Then last, that leads to Together Forever, which is just what I call that is building relationships that will last. And it makes them want to come back to you. You want to be the first choice on your consumers' minds. You don't just want to be the cafeteria down the hall. Okay, so newism. Newism is just really, it's anything that's new. And you have to remember, even in the wellness genre, some of your associates in your building or the consumers or the guests that are coming into your building are just starting a wellness journey, so they may be in the beginning of a new idea, whereas somebody else it's matured and it's they've been doing it for a long time. But there's always something new that you can explain to your consumers. But new's never been hotter. Every country in the world is reinventing themselves. They're reinventing products. They're putting out new services and experiences on a daily basis. Don't be fooled by new by putting out new and improved, though. That's been overused, and consumers are onto that. The question they would ask under new and improved is, why did it have to be improved in the first place? I've been using it for a long time. Did you find something wrong with it that I don't know about? Consumers are very savvy. Remember that. But think about this. If people like new, 19,000 new apps are added to Apple on a monthly basis. If that doesn't say people want new, I don't know what it is. Think about the phone business, how quick they turn over. New is what they want. But with the right marketing and campaign strategy, you can create new and exciting about anything from a single product to a whole new concept. And that's what people like. You could focus on a new dish, a new spice, a health benefit for turmeric. And I'm sure you guys have done some of this, and it may not seem new to you, but it is to customers who haven't seen it before. So better for you products. Eat this instead of that, and that's new to them, and that's educating them as well. E4, this is really about entertainment, experience, experimental, and excitement, as I said to you before. It's a great place to begin creating your customer loyalty programs that's going to add to your brand. Remember I said start getting a brand, start being the brand they want to come to, not just the cafeteria, but develop a brand. But you need to make sure people understand you and they will be loyal to you. And if you can do things like membership, or if you can have closed events, guest passes, loyalty programs, but don't just put a card on the counter and say we have a loyalty program, buy 10 things and get something free. Really start to advertise to those folks via email or special events, and then it creates exclusivity. Exclusivity gives them a sense of excitement and loyalty back to you, because they're going to tell their friends that they have an exclusive deal, and the friend is going to want that too. That's where you start to build brand loyalty. Being a foodie is very in vogue today. How many food shows are there? How many chefs are there? How many places can you go where they're demonstrating food techniques and, Vitamixes, or, 7-ply stainless steel pots and pans, or pizza makers? Everybody's a foodie, and they want to be experimenting with new foods and new techniques and new services. You're in the right business at the right time. It's never been better to be in the food business. Themes are also something that you can create excitement and experiment with. I mean, I'm going to pick on bacon, and yes, you guys have probably done lots of things around bacon, and bacon gets a bad rap, but bacon is also one of those iconic foods now that people are combining with such crazy ingredients. Chocolate, they're making bacon smoothies, bacon candy, everything from soup to nuts with bacon, but they focus on one product, and you can take one product, strawberries, or, maybe, it's balsamic vinegar, and talk about the benefits of that product. And then bring the kitchen out into the servery and amaze your guests with chef entertainment and sharing culinary tips, and you will be feeding into the empowerment of the consumer that feels it's all about me and I am a chef at home. E4 continues, which is also about experience. We are in an experience economy. Everybody on the phone here has probably been somewhere, done something, gone on a cruise, or Disney is the leader in all of this. But even think about Starbucks. Starbucks started out years ago, people would say, who? Who's that? Starbucks. They've created a culture, but it's about immersion. From the moment you walk in, you have an experience there, and you'll never forget it, and you can replicate it anywhere else in the world. So it's an immersion into a product or an immersion into an experience. And these are just some examples of places that, do a good job, that they immerse you into, and you have a certain expectation of what you're going to get from that product. Cheesecake Factory is actually probably one of the best ones that does that, and they don't even advertise on TV, at least not in my area of the world still, but their marketing strategy has always been larger portions, experimental with new ingredients and new flavors and twists on food, but you go home with leftovers, and you walk through the mall, or you go home and put that bag in your refrigerator, and that's marketing to them, because you remember them not only during the experience, but it continues on into the next day. Okay. Next, rewinding. Again, everything old is new again, and I'm sure that plenty of you are probably saying, oh, lady, we've done, oldies days and sock hops and all of those types of things. And I agree that it's probably been done before, but it's hotter than ever. It's out there again where people are saying, oh, do you remember that? Do you remember this? Remember the old days? Remember the old foods? Products are being brought back on the shelves and being relaunched for people to remember them from when they were younger. And, comfort foods, again, it's a little hard and it's a little crazy because you're trying to offer wellness, but there is a way to do healthy comfort. And there are ways to give them what they're looking for to go back to the old days. And the one thing I would say is, as we are aging and we have boomers in our business, we also have Gen Xers or Ys that are in our business. So now you may only want to rewind back to the 70s. It may not be the 50s. It may not be the generation that you are thinking it is, but you want to look at your consumers. This gives you an opportunity then to have more than one rewinding day. You could go 50s, 60s, 70s. You might even go into the 80s. Who knows? You can celebrate single foods. Strawberry shortcake, and you could have it through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or reinvention of the strawberry, how it started out as one thing and then move it all the way up now into a healthy strawberry shake, chocolate dipped strawberries, the health benefits of them. So you can still put wellness in here and rewind at the same time. Remarkability. I guess that's something that every one of us probably has an experience where there's only one word, and it's remarkable. Remarkable businesses grow. Remarkable experiences leave a mark on the person who has that experience. And it could be something simple as you or one of your associates going out of their way to explain the ingredients or the cooking technique or the food that you're using. And that person walking away hopefully will use the word remarkable. Being remarkable leads to repeat customers. Word-of-mouth advertising about remarkable experiences when a friend tells a friend, that's priceless. We've all heard about how people tell people and they go back and they want to see if they can have that same experience. That's what remarkability is all about. And then Together Forever, I mentioned this before. This is, you may not have your consumers or your customers forever, but you do want them for the time that they're working there in your facility or for the time that they're visiting in your facility. And I want to talk just a little bit about referrals here. A positive referral from an experience, as I said to you before, is a powerful form of persuasion. It's a powerful form of creating a referral to a consumer, and that is also going to start to build brand loyalty. A positive experience works wonders. Having a cheerful conversation with someone, helping them out. They come to rely on you as an expert, and that builds trust. And trust then leads to loyalty. Serving a quality product, delivering it the same quality, and I know it sounds simple in this context, but in the food service business, sometimes we may serve the same meatloaf on a monthly basis, and it's not the same to the consumer the first time as it is the second time because something's changed in the recipe, or maybe the employee or the chef that was making that meatloaf does something different. What that does is it starts to put a little bit of a question in the consumer's mind about whether or not they can trust to buy it the third time. So a consistent quality product. Panera does a great job of that, which is, their business has grown in leaps and bounds, and that's because you can go into any Panera on any corner in any city and you can get the same salad or the same soup or the same sandwich because they trust in you, they are loyal to you. And it's a rewarding relationship. When loyalty starts to grow, your relationship it's a mutually beneficial relationship that starts to grow. And the benefits are, they're priceless. Once you start to build that brand loyalty and consumers come back to you, the relationship on both sides is rewarding because your sales will continue to grow. And that creates a habit And a habit is what you want your consumers to really have when they're coming to your business. You don't want to be, oh, the place down the hall, or gee, there's no place else to go, or I don't have time to go out to lunch. You want to be the first choice. Create that habit because they trust you, they're loyal to you, and then your growth will take place. So that's together forever, and that's really what brand loyalty is all about. You make a promise to a consumer, and they'll reward you with spending their money with you. And then, well, I usually end here with one last picture because I do like to put pictures on my PowerPoint presentations. I like to do that because I think that gives you an opportunity to sort of visualize what it is I'm talking about. But you know, all of the things that I've just talked about, it's a little frenetic in the consumer world right now. They're fickle and demanding. They're changing. You know, what's hot today is cold tomorrow. What's in right now is out next week. And your job is to be flexible as possible, and then, you know, giving the consumers what they want, and then again, building brand loyalty. And actually, I'm at the end of my presentation right now. So, Marcia, if
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any questions up here.
Well, I think that was kind of giving the whole. I'm going to see some questions come in, so let's see. Okay. Let's see a question. Here is a question. Let's see. Give me a second, and we'll get you some questions.
Okay.
Question is, how would you get started if you had to give 2 points? How would you get started? You know, what would you tell a director or someone on the call to do tomorrow?
I think one of the most important things that people overlook is a preference survey. I know we do customer satisfaction surveys, and really they're only, you know, I don't want to put customer satisfaction surveys down. They serve a purpose, and yes, you have key results indicators that you have to be looking at, you know, on an annual basis. But a preference survey, strictly asking people what they want, what they're looking for, and where do they shop when they're not with you, and what do they eat when they're not with you, or what would they like to see on a daily basis. And you also want to know what their preferred price point is as part of their budget. So I would say the first thing is you want to start to look at a preference survey, and you definitely want to look at the demographics, the age groups that you're dealing with, and you want to try and identify the percentage of the age groups that are in your building.
One of the other questions is, what do you find working with healthcare clients the biggest way to generate revenue at this time in a retail environment? Or is there? Is it this? I know you mentioned things about local, and I know you mentioned small plates. So, you know. I actually, the question that I get more often than anything else is, how do we truly communicate and create a wellness program that can stand the test of time when my customers buy differently? So let me explain that to you. You know, most administrators, not just healthcare, all businesses, because they're concerned about their healthcare costs and, you know, insurance and the health of their employees. They want wellness programs. And then most directors will come back and say, yeah, but when I put that out, they didn't want that. They bought this. So I think the biggest thing that you can do is a salad bar is still a popular thing, and you can reinvent a salad bar to the point where it's just truly exciting because you can have so many new combinations of it. I think that's a good revenue generator for you. And I do think that tasting meals where you're giving smaller samples of new items that you're introducing, and perhaps it's more of an exclusive day where we're going to do a tasting menu, and you give it to them for a price where it's profitable for you, but you create an experience around those items for consumers. Did that answer the question? Let's see. I think it did. So you mentioned a point about tastings. So would you say one of the best advantage of power retailing is to, when you want to introduce new products and not call them healthy, but have a tasting of sorts, and then to lead into putting that on a temporary menu to see how the profitability reflects that?
Absolutely. I think there's a whole, first of all, you don't have to call it healthy. You can call it vegetarian, Mediterranean. You can call it lighter. It doesn't, healthy is an overused word in my mind right now, but there's a lot of other words and a lot of other spins that you can put onto those menus. And you don't even have to call it healthy, but when someone looks at the calories or the fat or the sugar, depending on what their wellness plan is, they'll understand it's healthy. And yes, tastings are a great way. Tastings and cuttings are a great way for you to get a pulse from your consumers on whether or not they liked it. And I'll give you a quick example, and this is something that really, try it because it works, is bring in your vendor to introduce a new product, whether it's a fruit or a vegetable. Have your chef create a meal that day featuring that superfruit or super vegetable in this meal. Let them go to your vendor for free and get a little taste of it. While they're tasting it from your vendor, hand them a coupon to get something off of that meal that's offered just that day, and you have them go to that station. So you're driving your business to where you want it to be that day, and you'll find that people usually will buy it. You could also ask them to give you a comment, thumbs up or thumbs down. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right. That's a great point. Another question, and I think we have time for two more questions. Any suggestions on applying these ideas in a nursing home or assisted living setting? Good question.
Yeah, I do actually think there's definitely an opportunity. I think, again, customer satisfaction versus preference, so preference survey, and or having an event where you could do a tasting or a product introduction or even a cooking demonstration. Now, if it's an assisted living or if it's a long-term care, if it's independent, depending on the level, you could even have a chef focus on something as simple as, why use olive oil instead of vegetable oil? Why use fresh tomatoes instead of canned tomatoes? Even though there's a lot of debate out there about using canned tomatoes, it's healthier for you because of the lycopene. The point is that you could do a simple cooking demonstration about a product. You could do a tasting, and if folks give you a good reaction to it, you can put it on your menu.
And is that both, I know we're talking about retail, so it's from a cost-effective point of view, you think all consumers, whether they're in whatever healthcare or whatever retail venue, it works?
Absolutely. Again, it's about me. I want you to care what I think. I want you to give me what I want. Please help me to have a better experience. Yes, it's about engaging the consumer.
Okay.
Regardless of what kind of consumer it is, yes.
And so also, if you're talking about a consumer, whether it's the patient, the resident, or family member, or an employee who works within it, it's all encompassing for that retail component. I believe, and I think, Helene, I'll ask you this, do you concur that there is an opportunity for many in different environments, especially long-term, to have a retail kiosk of some sort, a power retailing, so that they can introduce new products to family members, to visitors, and make profit, at the same token implement them on their menus?
100%. Let me give you an example. I was working in a CCRC in Chicago a couple of years ago, and it was tired. It needed a refresh. And there was this space that was just perfect for a snack bar, but it was underutilized. They were only open for a short while in the morning, and then they closed down. Well, we actually created a location. We did a refresh. We designed a beautiful place where people could go all day long and Also, it turned into a pub in the evenings for things like, bowling, Wii bowling, and checkers and games. And they actually did have, they would serve wine and they would serve beer. But the point is that there was an opportunity for, in the morning, the staff came in. During the day, the residents used it. The family members could go in there and use it as well. They could come in at dinner time. There was kids' meals that were there. So it became a one-stop shop for everyone.
That sounds great. All right. Well, we have time. Let me see if there's one more question. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. And if anyone has questions. All right. I think we're done. Thank you again for joining us today, Towering Retail. Hope you walked away with some aha moments. And I have to thank Helene for joining us and offering your expertise. Please take the post survey because that will allow us to be better and some information for you as well. I noticed Helene has offered to give you additional ideas for your cafe, and here is her contact information. So please feel free to connect with her. And as well, I want to thank Alluserv for sponsoring, again, working in meal service experiences, whether they be for resident or patient. Thank you, and have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.